I've turned Do Not Disturb on.
Wish you could do that to kids.
Right, you want to press record? The one that's...
Voice memos?
No, I'll pause it.
You do it, should you?
Right.
Voice over off. Instagram. 5 new tips. Extras. Heading. Extra. Compass. Extras. Heading. Tips. Tips. Voice memos. Real sign 4. Reels. Re-record. Button. Voice over off.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Campbell. I'm the marketing manager for Cerebral Books, and as I'm sure you all know, the reason we're here today is because we are publishing a book by Billy, which I'm sure you're all looking forward to read. Could I ask, first of all, before we go any further, that everyone switch their phone on silent?
Yeah, I think mine is. I'll double check. You never know.
Okay. Cerebral Books is based in Glasgow, so we're not too far away. Our founder and the person who keeps all of our books working properly are sitting over there. And for anyone who wishes to buy a copy of the book later on, they'll be more than happy to sell one to you. When all of this is finished, Billy will quite happily be signing copies of the book for anyone who wishes them. And do we have the stamp with us?
We do.
Yes. So if anyone wishes, especially just for today, we have a dog print ink stamp. So anyone who wishes to can also have the book signed by Dobby. But we're not actually going to ink his paw. Didn't seem like a great idea. The way that today will work is we will start off with a question and answer session with myself asking questions and Billy answering them. Now, since he wrote the questions, he's got a fairly good idea of what they're going to be. Okay. When all that's finished, we'll have a question and answer section. Anyone who wishes to ask a question from the audience, but we would ask that you speak up because we're trying to record this so that Billy's friends who are not sighted and can't be here today will be able to hear it later on, and if you don't speak loudly enough, we won't be able to hear it. If I don't think a question is loud enough, I may repeat it before Billy answers it. When all that's finished, Billy has very kindly, with his family, provided soft drinks and some alcoholic drinks. There's also water available. Everyone will be more than welcome to help themselves. And as I say, when we're finished, if anyone wishes to, if they haven't already bought a copy of the book, and please remember they make wonderful birthday and Christmas presents, so buy at least 20 each. You'll be able to buy them over there, and you can then bring them over here where Billy will be happy to sign them for you. Okay? So, if everyone's happy, we will now proceed with the actual programme. Billy, do you want to sit down or stand up for this?
Stand up.
Well, I'll stand up with you then. Okay, the first question is, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, it goes back to high school when I was really interested in my English classes. And back then, I was about 16, maybe. An author came to visit, and he explained all which was required to write books, to redraft them, to do notes. He actually had about 7 books of notes. So I decided back then, I thought, right, this is something I want to do. I want to write books for people to read. But unfortunately, I lost my sight, so I wasn't able to write for a while. But then I picked up again once I had the software that allowed me to write again. So I've written several stuff since. Not big things, but just short stories and that. But for this book, I actually started it as my dissertation for my master's degree. And I'd written 15,000 words for that, and it was received well and marked well. So I thought, right, I've just recently got my first dog, and I thought, what better to write than a book about a blind man with cerebral palsy raising his first dog. And Jack Russell, a lot of people thought, is that the right dog for you? Are you going to manage a Jack Russell? Because they're awfully energetic. And me being me, I thought, of course. Of course I will. So the process started, and somebody, a friend, once said to me, do you have an extra 55,000 words you can write to make it into a full-fledged memoir? And again I says, of course I do. It might take me a while, but because for a memoir you need 70 words plus for a memoir. So I thought, there's plenty of things happened in our lives already, and I thought I can write this. I can write this story. So Dobby here was the main inspiration for this book. I just wrote, and so.
So how long did it take you in total, would you say?
Well, as I said, the dissertation was 15,000 words, so I already had that. But it was the rest I had to write, and it was not just about just coming up with words and putting them down. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you just write things, and it doesn't matter how good, how bad they are. As long as they're on the page, you can come back to it later. So once I'd done my master's degree and received my result, it took me about 2 years. So it took me up to the end of 2024 to finish it. And lockdown actually helped, because there was nothing to do. There was nowhere to go. So a lot of that 2 years was spent during the summer months, when Dobby just liked to lie in the sun, which allowed me to get no much sun about me at all, because I was indoors writing away. But that was a good thing, because it allowed me to write the story then. So yeah, it took me pretty much 2 summers really. I did try to write over the winter, but it's different. It's different because I've got Dobby's. He needs a lot of attention, and he asks for that attention when it's called Dark Nights. So I bought a laptop to see if I can help write while he's indoors with me. But he kept putting his head on the keyboard. Because he snuggled up to me. I couldn't do a lot of writing part of the time, so.
You should get a cat. They'll walk across the
Yeah,
keyboard.
yeah. Get another one for the cat.
I don't like cats. That's why I got a dog.
Yeah.
So did you find it easy to write this?
Well, yes and no. But,
Good answer.
I'll expand on that. It's easier. I've often thought it's easier to write what you know because it's a memoir. But yeah, some parts was extremely difficult to write about. Especially when Dobby got to it's like middle stages of puppy, towards the end of his puppy stage, because he was into everything. And for a person with cerebral palsy and no much eyesight, it was difficult at times. So some of the book was difficult to write. And there is I have someone reading a couple of extracts later on during this launch, and that'll explain more of how difficult some of the book was to write. But with the skills that I got through my master's degree in creative writing, the book was actually I found the actual book easier to write because of the skills and the craft that I developed in my writing. So yeah, that my master's degree did help to write the book. So yeah, some of it was easy, some of it was pretty tough.
Did you have to do much research for the book?
For a memoir, some people think there's no much research needed when you're writing a memoir, but there is. There's quite a lot of research needed because you can't remember everything. You only remember fragments of what's happened. So in certain places, research is needed. I got my very first dog. I hadn't a clue what to do really. So I needed to know how and what Jack Russells needed. So I read, or in my case, listened to a lot of audiobooks relating to Jack Russells and what they need, what they don't need. There's quotes I've used from Jack Russell books to back up my story. There's about 3 or 4 of them, and there are other parts in the book that, well, in fact, there's a lot of vet terms and stuff that I needed to know about, and there's later on in the book as well. There's Dobby. Lie down. Yeah, there's parts in the book that's not sometimes don't relate to doggy, and there's like sailing terms and that. I had not a clue about sailing terms. Dad does because he's had boats and stuff. So everything that goes into a memoir like that you don't know, you do have to research. So a lot more research went into the book than I anticipated, and that actually took up a lot of my time.
Did you get much help with the book? Like, did you need much help with writing the book?
The book was my story, and so it's mainly all my words. And I considered myself as quite a good editor. So to begin with, I thought I didn't need much help at all. But as time went on, I thought, right, there's lots of mistakes appearing here, and that's something that I can't avoid because my screen reader software will read out a word that sounds the same, but it's not. It's different. So I did seek the help of people that volunteered to help with editing, and not just one. I had about four different people helping me edit the book, because that way you get different people's opinions. And towards the end of the editing process, I did have someone that helped with emotional feelings, which will be talked about later as well. Because that's one thing I lack when I'm writing stories, is how I feel at the time, how I feel when I'm writing about stuff. So this person helped with that, to include more emotional details, and help with showing rather than telling. People might think that showing only happens in a fictional novel, but it doesn't. You can use showing in your memoir as well, because it helps bring the story to life. So without her help, it might have been a different book altogether.
Are you happy with the way the book turned out in the end?
I've often said I'm never happy. Never happy with what I write, and I'm never happy with the final outcome. I always think I could have done that better. I could have wrote that better. I could have done more things better. But when my book was finished and it was all edited, proofread, I did, for once in my life, say I'm happy with that. And I was delighted with the outcome of it.
You've got no choice. Have you any plans about writing any more books?
I'm always writing stuff when I have time to write. I had a book started before my dissertation for my master's degree, but I chose this one to concentrate on. So the idea is to go back to some of the stuff that I've started to write and develop it in stories. So and there's there's a couple of novels I've attempted, but that novel writing's a whole different ballgame. And but there are chapters written already. So for your answer to that question, yes, I do intend and plan to write more books and hopefully get them published as well.
Well, I've run out of questions.
Have you?
Have you felt that any of the feedback you've had about the book so far has been mainly positive? Or have you had much feedback? I mean, it's only been out for about a week.
It's only been out for 2 days. Yeah, the ebook's been out since Monday, but I've not had much feedback about it yet. Apart from the people that helped me edit it, said that this is an excellent story, and I can't wait until it's published and on bookshelves. So that was before I got a publishing deal. I did pop into Waterstones yesterday, but it wasn't there. I was hoping to go in and hold it in my hand and say, I wrote this. So yeah, I've not had much feedback from it yet, but I do encourage people to write a review of this book, and whether it be good or bad, doesn't matter. I would appreciate feedback.
Anyway, I ran out of questions. Can I ask, are there any questions from the audience?
I wouldn't raise your hand.
Well, so far it looks as if nobody has any questions, which is rather surprising.
I've got a question.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Billy, Brian,
Yeah,
is it a story as in fictional or autobiographical?
it's neither.
What is it? Oh,
It's neither fictional or autobiographical. It's memoir,
right.
because memoir.
So it's like through the ages, through the days, through the weeks.
Memoir's slightly different from autobiography, because
Aye.
a memoir focuses on a particular time
Right.
in your life. So that's why this qualifies as a memoir, because this book only focuses and concentrates on the first 2 years of bringing and raising Dobby.
Aye.
So that's why it's a memoir.
And do they go through the years chronologically?
Yeah, they don't have to.
Oh, we read it, pal.
Yeah.
I won't get in yet.
This one, there's a cut-off point, because I wanted to concentrate and make sure it was the first 2 years from having Dobby. So it starts and it ends in the same month, really.
Aye.
And there is a chronological kind of thing to it, where through the 2 years it does say, like, in September and November, December, but it's not just written like that, because that would be boring. It's
So is it all contained within the 2 years?
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, Bill.
Bro.
Do you have any more questions?
Yeah, I have one. It's Gavin, an instructor. If like, so when you're writing a book, did you find that that you get so many ideas for your writing, and you couldn't stop taking notes of what you were doing, and you're up late at night doing more practices of it than ever. Did you find that you're putting a lot of hours into it, that you find that you reap the reward from it?
That's a good question, because that's one I meant to answer as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of commitment and dedication that went into this book. I did touch on earlier that I was like writing through the summer and that, and I was, and like nearly every day mum came in, and I was at my computer, and but things changed the way I write, because you're right. Before I did stay up until about 3-4 o'clock in the morning when I've written other stuff, but that doesn't happen now because I've got Dobby, and I didn't want to sit till all the hours in the morning writing. So, and now I write when I can, but yeah, for each chapter I had an idea for each chapter, what to include, what not to include. That's important. And I did what's called mind mapping. So a lot of chapters in the book, before I started them, I said to myself, right, I want to include this, and maybe this. And the majority of the time when I wrote these chapters with that in mind, I did include what I set out to do. I'm not really a note taker though. I'm a drafter. So I write several drafts before I finish a chapter. And if I write too many drafts, I get cold.
You were just checking we're all awake, weren't you?
That was terrible.
Very good. That's good, like my brother's jokes.
So yeah, Bill, I've yet to read it, and I will read it. But do you find that was there any specific chapter you enjoyed the most writing and get from it? And do you think it's done you probably justice towards what you've done?
I've always said when I've been writing this book that chapter 13 is my I think I would say it's my best written chapter, because it includes a lot of it does include a lot of fictional details. It includes similes. It reflects on the past before I got Dobby. It tells you a lot about Anstruther itself and the changes and stuff that's been made over the years. And it's a chapter as well that it's what happened before I got Dobby and what's going to change from there onwards by having Dobby. But yeah, the later chapters was probably well written as well, because it was building up to something. So it's there are more chapters that I enjoyed writing than others, but there are one or two that I struggled with, and I didn't feel that they were that great, but I kept them in. I could have taken them out, but I thought no, other people might like the chapter. So yeah, but yeah, chapter 13 is probably the most, what's the word? I'm supposed to be right, aren't I?
Satisfying?
Most satisfying one for me. Thanks, Jim.
Wait till you get the bill. We have any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Hi Billy, it's Lorna.
Hi.
Lovely to be here with you. I noticed you touched earlier on emotions in your writing.
Yeah.
Did you find that quite challenging to put down on paper? Like you really, obviously because people are going to be reading what your thoughts and everything were. Did you find that quite challenging to put emotions into your writing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did find it difficult because
It's personal, isn't it? It's very personal.
it is personal and it's and I'm not an emotional person, and
Oh.
I like hugs from my dog. But there was actually quite a lot missing in the book to start with that needed more emotion, and I struggled with that because I find it difficult to write about emotion because I never ever take pity on myself, so it's probably obvious to a lot of people in the room, and I just get on with things as best as I can, and I've like the book does say it's like part of the book says it's like about owning a dog, proving that it was wrong, but it's not really all about that. It's about determination and achieving something that I want to work towards. But yeah, without the emotional side of it, that was a big part of the emotional feelings were missing.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
I've got a question. Hi Billy, it's Marianne.
Hi.
You mentioned the word determination there, and I was just wondering how hard was it you found to keep that determination going, like to try and find a publisher for your book, and how would you encourage other writers just to keep going?
That's a good question as well that I didn't think about. Once the book was finished and edited and up to a standard that I was ready to search for a publisher, that also took months, with little success, because up until Sparcel Books obviously, but it's really difficult to pin a publisher down or an agent, because you have to give them exactly what they ask for, and if you don't give them what they ask for, they'll not look at it. Sometimes they'll not go get past the synopsis or your cover letter. They might read the cover letter, but they'll be happy with that. So that was really difficult. And with my glaucoma, the process for that was long and tiring, because it was okay. Like if you got the next one that was asking for the same, okay, copy that, send that. But when you come across somebody that wants an additional thing or something different, you have to go back to it and include that. And so yeah, it was. But for anyone that does want to be successful and be a writer and get noticed and have a publisher, never give up, because if your story's good enough, and someone finds it publishable, you've done it. It's what you've aimed for. So yeah, so my advice is keep plugging away.
Can I ask one, Jim? You don't know me, my name's Stephen. From what you were saying just now, there might be quite a few people in here thinking, oh, I could write a memoir, I could think of something I could write, but I don't know how to start. How would you advise people to start off the process?
The best way to start is to write things down, really, and it doesn't matter how much or little you write down. You can go back to it and start developing it, and ideas will come to you, memories will come to you, and as I said before, you might need to do a little research for some of those memories to come to the surface. But the best thing to do is just start by writing things down. If it's on paper or a computer or whatever, that's that you've started. That's how I started.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Billy, it's Jane, occasional dog walker for Dobby.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you are working on some things that you started quite a long time ago. I'm intrigued to know what kind of novel you're writing. Is it a romance or a detective novel? Can you give us a clue, or is it a secret?
You might be thinking of the other one, Mum.
Oh, I guess.
It'll be a thriller.
Oh, excellent.
And I've only written about 3 or 4 chapters of it, but the other one I was thinking of writing as well is a horror, because the majority of audiobooks I listen to are horrors. The majority of them is Stephen King, and I've listened to about 50 books. So they do say you're more likely to write about the subject that you read, and so he gave me an idea for a novel, a horror novel, but I am struggling with that one. So but I'm managing better with the thriller, and it's don't want to give much away. It's a bit of kidnapping, really. That's as much as we'll say.
So we'll listen out for more. Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Well, one thing, there's been a bit of a discussion about getting published and about some of the difficulties you had. One thing I would recommend, our esteemed head of SPARZA, Leslie, has actually recently written a book entitled How Not to Get Published. She gave a talk at the Scottish Association of Writers, which went down very well, and then discovered that an amazing number of people who are either already writers or wish to become authors have absolutely no idea how to submit to either agents or authors. So she wrote this book. She's done it in a very humorous way with a lot of illustrations, basically telling you what not to do. So of course you learn what you should do. If anybody's interested in that, talk to her. So unless there's any last minute questions? No? Okay. So I believe are having a reading?
Yeah. This is when my voice changes.
This is when he gets in touch with his feminine.
Because I have Marianne come up to read two extracts from my book. And before Marianne starts, I'd just like to say that what we've been discussing and questions that I've answered or tried to answer, some of the examples of those are about to be read by Marianne, and they're a bit more the emotions of at the time when it was difficult and challenging raising Dobby at the time, and it shows my love for him. So I'd like Marianne now to read from chapter 14.
Yeah, thanks very much, Billy, for inviting me to read. So Billy, I know Billy. Billy and I have done quite a few workshops together, and it's been a privilege to get to know Billy. And he is an inspiration to writers, writers Fife-wide. So thank you. So I'm dropping in at chapter 14, and if you have the book, I've got my notes, but I'm reading it from the book. Which is available to purchase. So I'm starting, it's page 116 if anyone's following along. The end of November approached, and the month had been calm and mild. It did rain heavily at times. This discouraged Dobby from going outside to do his business. He was improving with his toilet training, but when it rained, I still found the odd puddle on the living room floor, but not so often on the kitchen floor. One of my dad's customers suggested we try an anti-odour spray on the areas after wiping up his mess. I had hoped this would prevent him from peeing on the floor, but it didn't. I was spraying the stuff everywhere, even on the coffee table where he often jumped up to look out the window. I squeezed lemon juice on areas where he chewed, but this didn't work either. Dobby seemed to like chewing corners of things. In her book, The Culture Clash, Jean Donaldson stated that there was a time when chewing in domestic dogs was viewed as a stage that teething puppies went through. Now we know better. She says chewing is a normal canine pastime, which is enjoyable for the dog and keeps the jaws and teeth in good shape. I had my doubts. Sometimes I felt he did it to annoy me. One day, when I had a friend round, he was in the toilet with his dog. He often took her with him. When I heard crunching, I thought it was his dog chewing an empty toilet roll tube. The crunching became louder. I was unaware Dobby was hunkered down, chewing the corner of my living room wall, leaving a mound of plasterboard. After this incident, I had to keep a close eye on him. Sometime in early November, my friend suggested that I buy a flat fox. What was a flat fox? Basically, it's a dog toy resembling, yes, a flat box, which dogs love to play with and chew, but without harming the dog. I couldn't find a flat fox, so I got a squirrel instead. The poor squirrel's ears were bitten off in no time, but it took a long time to destroy the toy completely. Dobby and I played with his toy a lot. I sat in the middle of the settee and teased Dobby with it. I threw it behind my back and he jumped for it. I whipped it away before he grabbed it, repeating the game. I carried on until he tired. I tempted him with the same toy to encourage him away from the wall. It didn't work. Instead, I picked him up and held him to my chest, gently telling him it was wrong. Mum sometimes looked after Dobby at my house so that I could visit the pub to see friends and have a couple of pints. I told her she would need to play with Dobby for a bit and use the flat squirrel. I promised I wouldn't be long and never was. However, in late November, I decided to venture further afield and visit my friends in St Andrews. Mum and Dad kept Dobby that night. My eyes welled up when Dad lifted him up to my level to give his dad kisses. Be a good boy for Granny and Grandad, I said, stroking his head before Dad took him away. The bus journey felt like hours. It had been the first time I travelled a distance on the bus since getting Dobby. I got off across from the Criterion. I heard clinking of empty glasses being cleared from tables as I approached. Although they sold my favourite lager, it tasted like vinegar. I pictured Dobby sitting whining at the top of Mum and Dad's garden, waiting for his dad to come home. I used my long cane to find my way to Blackhorns, a modernised old-style diner which served burger and hot dogs. A strong whiff of fried food escaped from the vent above me as I fumbled for the door handle. I'd been to this place once, and it had been full of students sitting at high tables and a long queue waiting to be served. No one occupied seats that night. I had a hot dog and chips. I couldn't eat my food for retching. Every mouthful took an eternity to disappear down my gullet, instantly threatening to come straight back up. My friend passed as I sparked up a cigarette outside Blackhorns. I told him I wouldn't be long. I thought a cigarette would calm my nerves, but I couldn't smoke for choking. I did relax a little once I made it to the pub. Having a drink and a laugh with friends took my mind off being away from Dobby for a bit. But when my taxi arrived to take me home, my anxiety levels returned greater than ever. I'd lived on my own for 15 years and was used to my own space. So why was going into an empty house different? I no longer had an empty space. Dobby had filled that gap in my life. I had company for the first time in years. I had a dog to share my life with. I opened his cage door, tensing at the excitement of Dobby pouncing on me to lick my face. Finding a slobbery toy, I picked it up, smelt it and put it down. I sat on the couch, pressing my face into where Dobby's little body lay curled up beside me. Finding his discarded flat squirrel on the floor, I picked it up and took it to bed with me. I lay his toy beside my face. A part of Dobby took away the emptiness. Dad brought him back the following day around noon, and I lay on the settee waiting for him. When he found me, he jumped on top of me and rolled around. He had missed his dad as much as I missed him. I swore that I wouldn't go to St Andrews again until he was a lot older.
Oh, wow. That's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's one other one.
Wow.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So if you haven't got the book yet, there's brilliant pictures right in the middle as well with Dobby and his dad.
Oh.
So I think the next extract, we're moving on a wee bit to chapter 15.
Yep.
So again, this one is starting on page 132 if anyone's got the book. I didn't let Dobby out of my sight, or earshot rather, after his operation. I let him out the back for the toilet and had a cigarette while he was out. I listened out for him while I watched telly. However, a couple of days after his operation, I heard constant licking. Where was it coming from? I hadn't shut the living room door properly. I rushed into the bedroom and followed the sound. He had managed to angle his cone and body so he could get to his wound. Terrified he might have reached his stitches, I called Mum. She arrived in minutes and inspected the wound. It's a bit red, she said, studying the area. Do you think we should take him to the vet? I asked, gulping back tears. I think so, she replied. It'll be okay, she said, resting her head on my shoulder. We'll get him sorted. She finished having reattached his cone. I hope so, I said, biting my lower lip. The vet asked us to bring him in. We were back in the consultation room a short time later. Yes, that looks a bit nasty, the nurse said, examining Dobby. We're going to have to put a bigger cone on you, little man, she continued, and give you something to clear that up. It'll be okay, Mum said, laying a hand on my shoulder. The nurse disappeared again and returned with a much larger cone and medication. Okay, she began. Give him these antibiotics with his food and rub this cream around his wound twice daily. Will he be okay? I asked. He should be, she assured. The medication should do the trick and the larger cone will stop him from reaching his wound. Both Mum and I nodded. Now let's get this on you, wee man, the nurse began again. These cones are usually for bigger dogs like German shepherds. But we can't have you licking your wound now, she said. We had a new appointment to come back on the Friday, which was only a week since his operation. It also meant I would have to give my birthday celebrations a miss, but Dobby was more important. With his new cone around his neck, we thanked the women and headed out. Not only was Dobby's new cone bigger, but it was also heavier. I winced every time I heard the cone clatter against the floor, the walls, and even the door on our way out. I needed Mum and Dad's assistance more than ever. I wondered if it was such a good idea owning a dog after all. Had I set my ambitions too high? And perhaps raising a Jack Russell independently was beyond my ability. His new cone was too big for him to eat or drink. It had to be removed for meal times, something I couldn't do on my own, and had to rely on Mum and Dad to come round every day to feed him. I want to feed my own dog, I moaned one day. You will, Mum offered in her soft tone. It's only for a wee while. I know that, but it's fine. We'll be here to help, and you'll get your dog back when he's all healed. I hope it's not long then, I said, a tear running down my cheek. Dobby was able to fit in his cage with his small cone, but he couldn't with this one. Where was he going to sleep? There was only one solution. He would have to sleep in my room beside me. I had planned one day he would get to sleep in my bedroom, but I didn't think he was ready yet. Because he cuddles up beside me on the couch, Dad thought that would be his bed eventually, or at the foot of my bed. We prepped Dobby for different arrangements, but would different arrangements confuse him? I was about to find out. I moved his bed into my bedroom, but didn't think he'd sleep in it. Instead of ushering him into the kitchen, I opened the living room door, but he trotted past it towards his cage because that's where he was used to going. It was difficult persuading him to follow me to my room. He wouldn't cross the threshold at first and lay on the carpet outside my room. I needed him close to me. The only way it would work was to chase him in, closing the living room door so he couldn't bolt back through. I got behind him, placed my hand on his bum and ushered him in. Once in, I closed the bedroom door. That was him. He couldn't go anywhere. I'm sorry, Dobby, I said, kneeling on the carpet. His little face stared at me through his oversized cone, barely able to raise it in the air. You're better in here with Dad, I whispered, a finger lifting the cone slightly so that my eyes could meet his. It's for your own good, pal, I continued. It'll not be for much longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I would like to thank Sparzell team who recognised the work of Billy's book and were happy to publish it. And we do in Sparzell try to look for the works that miss them being picked up by the major companies because they don't fit into a particular genre or don't fit a particular thing. We care about the quality of the writing. So once again, I would like to thank the Sparzell team. I would like to thank a proofreader. I would like to thank you all for coming. I would like to thank Marion very much for that wonderful reading. And believe me, I've been to book launches where they're specifically designed to send you into a stupor. That was excellent. And most of all, I would like to thank Billy, because without him, none of us would be here today. So could you please give him
and can I can I just say as well that I'd also like to thank Sparswell Books and the team, because if it wasn't for them, none of this would happen either. And they believed in me and my writing, which was excellent, and I really do appreciate Sparswell Books as well for taking me on and publishing my book. So thank you.
So again, 20 copies each over there. And then anyone who wants them signed, please, once you've bought them, bring them here.